Hey guys, it's IP here, back again in EVE Online, and today I'm going to call this sort of like a 100 subscribers special, even though I was planning on doing it regardless. I might do more, but yeah, first of all, thanks for getting me to 100 subs for those of you who have subscribed. It means a lot. I'm just gonna, keep going, keep on trucking and putting out content, and we'll see where it goes from here, but whatever. But that's not the point of this video. Today I'm going to be talking about how I've experienced or how I've felt about EVE Online, and I'm going to go through the beginner's experience. At least I have about 135 hours of game time and a couple months under my belt, which isn't a lot, I know, but I'm just saying that it's given me a fairly good representation of what the game is like. So yeah, that's going to be what we're doing today. I'm going to be going through, I got a list of stuff to talk about, and we'll see where it goes from there. So yeah. So as a beginner in EVE Online, my initial reaction when I first started up was, well, let's see what we got to do, right? And then I opened the map and I was greeted by something like this. And I'm not going to lie, I was feeling completely overwhelmed. The size of the galaxy, I'm going to throw out a guess and say hundreds of star systems that you can visit. Of course, you can't visit all of them, like, freely or whatever, but still, even within high sec, it's an overwhelming number of systems, like every little dot. This map in particular represents it a little bit better in the sense that everything just looks a lot more like clusterfucky. Where you're like, holy shit, I start off at some system over here, and then you're like, well, where do I go from here? Like, what the hell am I supposed to do? And it's pretty intimidating. So as a beginner, when you first start the game, before you even begin learning the ins and outs of everything you got to do, and you just look at this system, and you're like, oh, I have to go somewhere for a tutorial mission. Like, what the fuck? Like, I just gotta sort of zoom in here and which one is it? Oh my god, there's nothing to really indicate anything about them other than these big words occasionally. So yeah, initially my initial reaction with it was like, oh, for fuck's sake, like, how do I do anything in this world because it's so damn big. So yeah, that's what the first thing that really hits you. Once you realize also, sort of moving into the next thing about the scale of the game, you realize that, say, I believe it was like 35,000 players on right now on Tranquility, and that means there's, throughout these systems, these few hundred star systems or whatever the hell, don't take my word for it, but basically I'm just sort of seeing it, and I'm like, within these few hundred star systems, there's 35,000 people, and it's kind of crazy and overwhelming. So yeah, basically, just think about it. When you think about it, everyone, well, I suppose it's not technically the same server, because obviously they can't run the whole everything on one server, unless, I mean, I might be wrong. They might be doing that, but I don't think that's what they're doing. But yeah, basically, it's huge. There's a lot of players. You can interact with all of them without ever really jumping servers or anything like that, or at least knowingly jumping servers. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then for the next little part of the overwhelming scale, it has to be what I have found. One of the most complex things I've found is definitely got to be the player-driven market. I can't really show it off because I'm not at a trade hub. I mean, if you go somewhere like Jita or even, how do you say it, New Dixie? I think that's how you say it. It's like you can buy lots of shit. And if you say open up one of these and you see, okay, this is a bad example. Find something that, like a Brutix. Yeah, see, here you go. All these different, they're all the same item. They're all at different locations, as it says here, how many jumps away from your current location they are. And then they all have different prices, so you got to play the market, so to speak, without going into tons of detail. You have to figure out what you want to buy, like whether or not you just want to go with the one that's in station, which might cost you more, or if you're willing to go and fly to another station and get something that's a little bit less. So obviously that's like the very basics of the market, but yeah, like it gets a hell of a lot more complicated when you're trying to like make money by buying low and selling high and stuff like that. So yeah. Then we come to the next topic in my beginner experience list or whatever. it's about the hostility of space. So I'm back on the map screen here because it's a very good way to show it off. So obviously, as you can see, there's this area with all like the between like blue to yellow is where you're fairly safe. I mean, the thing is, you're not even technically safe in high security space because anyone who's good enough could come and shoot you anyways, despite the threat of Concord. But when you look at it, comparing the amount of space that is technically high security to the space that is no security or very low security, it's huge. Like the vastness of all the cool stuff happens out here in nullsec and I suppose a little bit of lowsec, but really I'd say this is maybe 30-40% of the galaxy, whereas the rest is completely dangerous. Like you just get popped at any moment just because someone feels like it or doesn't like the way you look at them. And really it's very hostile. Like you jump into the game and you really aren't very well explained that when you fly around you could just get destroyed, even though you might think that, oh, there's Concord, or I don't remember exactly how well they explain Concord in the tutorials, but it certainly isn't very well explained. I know that much. I had to learn a lot about lowsec and nullsec through either YouTube videos or just personal experience and from talking to other people in game. So, yeah, when you're thrown in and eventually you learn these things, you're going to just realize how crazy hostile everything out there is. Now, that sort of leads into another point, whereas the hostility is even further amplified because of the massive skill difference between a newbie player like myself and someone who has been playing the game for years or is just a veteran or whatever you want to call them. They not only have a massive skill point difference, but they also just know how to play the game better. So even let's say you go into a battle with two ships identically fitted, identical like ships, identical stats or whatever, even if the skills aren't making that much of a difference, like a veteran player doesn't have that many higher skill points or whatever, they know how to fight better. Like all the strategies, like how to keep your ship at a good range to you know, sort of put yourself at optimal range and at the same time be able to fly in such a way that it's harder for the opponent to hit. All sorts of little things that newbies don't really know how to do. And I mean, I'm calling myself as a newbie because I don't really know how to do PvP all that well. But all these things that they don't know, and myself included, that just set this massive difference in skill and, you know, greatly reduce their chance of being successful, despite the fact that perhaps they are fighting a ship that is equally fitted. So, yeah. Okay, now we come to an interesting topic, something that I have addressed in the past, but it's about the community of EVE Online and my impressions of it. I'm not going to really go super into detail because I did talk about it in a previous video, but to real quick summarize it, it's a bit of a mixed bag. The majority of people are very, very helpful, and they're sort of noob friendly, I guess, and they're very helpful. I mean, my inbox is filled with stuff of people just messaging me and giving me advice and stuff, so I'm really happy with that. Like, I haven't ever run into that sort of thing with another game. Granted, I haven't really played any other games where there's such a huge learning curve that it's necessary to be asking for advice and whatnot, but basically, very nice. On the other side, especially when I was in the Scope Corp, I think it's called the Scope, it's an NPC Corp where there's like 500 people at a time in Corp chat, and there are so many trolls. People just giving bad advice, handing out crappy fits, all sorts of crazy shit like that. And you got to be careful when you're interacting with large numbers, because you might get crap advice, and unfortunately that just sort of happens. And yeah, and then there are some people who are downright hostile, like some of the people who have commented on my YouTube videos, for example, where they see something they don't like and they just immediately hate you. So like this fit, for example, this is actually one of the first fits that I didn't get a huge amount of hate for. The only thing that people didn't like was the medium ancillary shield booster. So yeah, I'm going to probably change it out because it isn't really that good. I mean, people were generally happy about it, or like they were nice about it anyways, but it's something I'm going to switch out. But for example, on one of my older fits, I had not the Incursus fit, but there was a fit I had a while ago that, oh yeah, my Myrmidon fit for the things they don't tell you about EVE Online video. Oh my god, people got so angry over that, and without going into detail, it's ridiculous. So yeah, moral of this story is, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, most of the people are very friendly, but there are those who are not, which is to be expected with an online community. So yeah. Okay, here we go. So the next thing is ship complexity. So really, to begin with, I'll show off like the fitting idea of things in a second. I feel like starting more on the skill side of things. When you first get a ship or whatever, you're gonna have to train whatever skill required for the ship, to command that ship. So first of all, you have to figure out what kind of ship it is. So if you go into ISIS, which is such a poor, unfortunate name choice, you see up in the corner of ISIS, or I feel so weird saying that, the different types of ships. Like for me, I focus on Galente stuff because my character is Galente. And you have to first of all figure out, oh, like I'm going to use the Brutix as the example for this one. So here, I'm like, oh, I want to fly Brutix. Let's see. First of all, I'm going to need about 50 million ISK. So, you know, let's push that off to the side because it's not that, like, that's obviously an obvious solution for that. So, yeah. Then you're going to have to go to requirements where, oh, look at all these things I require. I require battle cruiser level 1, cruiser level 3, destroyer level 3, frigate level 3, spaceship command level 3. So, first of all, then I don't know how long that would take to train. It's not saying because I already have it trained, but you have to go and find those skills, which you do not own right off the bat. Like, you don't just get them. They don't just show up here. You have to go fly to a station or something where they sell the skill book, inject the skill or start training, get it to the required level. So I have Galente Battlecruiser to level 3 just because I have, like, it helps. But you have to train all those other skills to level 3 and then get Galente Battlecruiser to level 1 before you can even fly the thing. Like, not before you can stick stuff on it or buy it or any of that stuff, but before you can fly it. Then, depending on what you're fitting onto it, you have to, like, for example, these railguns. Let's go look at the info and the skills required for these. These, I mean, are fairly low skill requirement, but just because I don't know why I put them on here, because I don't really have any enough skills to get the better stuff. But for example, this one, it requires 3 skills, like 2 level 3 skills and 1 level 1 skill just to put the gun on it. And that doesn't count for all the other fits and all the other things that are, like, I mean, these are all Tech 2 stuff, so you got to have a fairly high range, or like a decently leveled up skills or whatever to fit these in the first place. But yeah, like, the amount of skills and things that you need to put on to actually use certain ships and whatnot it can be daunting at times. Then finding the right fits after you even have the skills, you have to go and figure out, oh, what's going to offer me the best DPS, what's going to offer me the best shield or armor or whatever you're tanking, because usually you got to tank something. You got to decide, first of all, like, what do I want to do with this ship, like, how do I want to do it, and then you'll actually be able to pull things off. Then, of course, you have to buy the stuff, put it on the ship, make sure you got the skills to actually put it on the ship, and then you're actually good to go. A process that can take a very long time and is really a lot based on trial and error, because depending on what you're doing, you're going to need a different fit for each action, whether it's PvP, PvE, mining, whatever the hell it is. Even different fits within the different types of PvP and PvE, depending on who you're facing and what type of damage they can dole out and things like that. So yeah, it gets very complex. Then we're going to jump back into the whole skill system, I suppose you could call it. Really, the skill library is absolutely enormous. Like, for here, I have 75 skills currently, which is not all, not even close to being all of them. I mean, you just open up these different tabs. Like, these are just ones that I've injected and or trained, and there's tons and tons more. Like, let's see. This isn't a trade hub, but let's see what we've got in here. We've got even more skills in here that I don't have. Some of them I have, but you know, just the vastness of the skill system. And then I believe the last count was like, if you were to train every skill to level 5, it would take a total of like 14 years or something like that. It's ridiculous. The size of the skill system is crazy. Then of course that sort of covers the topic of the time to train. Like, if I go and look for something in gunnery, let's see if I can find my motion prediction. Yeah, level 5 motion prediction. That took me like 9 days or something like that. Can't remember exactly. I actually finished training that, surprisingly enough, which, you know, thought I'd never get that done because it takes so fucking long. But yeah, the time is definitely daunting. And then the necessity of having the right skills, because if you go out into a PvP situation, you're gonna like, or PvE or anything, this having those right skills, those like 5% boosts or whatever out to certain different types of things, can make a whole world of difference in any sort of combat scenario. Because say you have like a 5% boost to your gun firing rate of fire or whatever, you might be able to get off that last shot a little bit faster, just to give you just the nick of time to kill someone before they kill you, which is unbelievably important. Now granted, it's never saved my life, but I could see how it could. So yeah, that's definitely, skills are a necessity. Then of course there's the overall learning curve, something that has pushed players away from EVE for the longest time, and did actually push me away several times. This is actually the 3rd time I've tried to learn to play the game. 2 times previous. The first time I played for the 2 weeks or whatever the trial allowed, and I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm really doing, so I quit. Second time was basically a repeat of the first one. I got a little farther that time, but again, I just lost it. My urge to play it was just gone. And then this time came around, and I don't know what was really different. Maybe I was just I persevered a bit longer, and I got involved with the community a little bit, and that's what like sort of kept me going. And yeah, so basically the learning curve, learning how to fight being the primary one. If you don't have good strategies, or you just fly at a ship shooting and just sitting there and waiting for it to die, that's not gonna help you out very much. You gotta learn the different strategies, figure out what your ship is good at, and use that to your advantage. Learning the terminology can be kind of tough. I don't really learn or know a whole lot of it yet, to be honest. People say a lot of stuff and you don't know, it doesn't make sense. Like, maybe it's in a tutorial, or maybe it's in like Corp Chat or something like that, or Rookie Help channel or whatever the fuck it's called, and they'll say something and you don't know what the fuck it is. I mean, I would encourage you to just look it up, because it's very, very easy to find what certain words mean and things like that. But I constantly do that myself, and it's the answers are out there, so just don't be afraid to just Google it. There is an in-game browsers under the accessory tab, so if you don't even want to tab out of the game, you can do it right in there. So yeah, learning the different strategies. I sort of already touched on this, but I'm just going to talk about it real quick again. The different strategies being like, I don't know, I think one of the more recent ones I heard about was kiting, which is keeping your ship at a certain range and using it to, like, using drones and stuff to attack, so you never come under fire. I don't know if that's 100% guaranteed, like, correct, so don't quote me on it. I just heard about it from somewhere. It's like basically keeping your ship at a certain range, so you're within an optimal range of your weapons, and yet the enemy can't really hit you that well. So yeah, again, don't quote me, please God, no. You can bitch about it in the comments if you want to, but yeah, whatever. And then learning what's best for you, sort of bringing it full circle here. Everyone has something they want to do. Like, granted, you could do any of the key strategies in the game, and you'll do decently. I mean, you just got to figure out what you find fun, first of all, because fun is like the key component to playing this game. If you're not having fun, then why the hell would you play the game? So figure out what you enjoy doing. whether it be like using longer range weapons to snipe people, so to speak, or getting up close and personal with blasters and sort of, you know, brawling it out. Just figure out what you find fun, figure out what seems cool to do, whether or not you want to fight with small ships like frigates or bring in like battleships and battle cruisers and shit like that. Some of them will take more skill than others, but eventually, if you persevere, you will be able to do pretty much anything you want to. You just gotta stick with it. So yeah, guys, for now, this is what I've kind of come across as being the beginner experience, all the questions we have, everything you're thinking as you go along, all the different problems you run into, and things that are daunting to us, because there are a lot of them. But yeah, hopefully this was somewhat informative for those of you who perhaps have been playing the game a long time and are having a hard time understanding why newbies have such a hard time keeping going with the game. But yeah, so that's what's been going on with me, and well, I'm getting better slowly, but I still run into these problems every once in a while. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this has been somewhat informative. If you want to subscribe, that would be really nice, because I like it. I like the fact that people watch my videos. It means a lot to me. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.